Kind of.
That's when you can
How's lockdown been for you? Because I'm sure you guys are going through as well.
For me, there's just been so many different stages of it. But in the beginning, I thought it was going to be 2 weeks, right? I was like, what can I do in 2 weeks, you know? And I was like, oh, I'm going to get shredded. Like, I got to make stuff, like, blah, 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 blah. And then it was like, and people were posting YouTube videos like madness. And then it was like, wait, you actually get this time. It's a pause. It's a reflection period. You know, don't feel like you have to just start producing. And then it just kept getting extended, and my sister had the coronavirus, so she was in bed for like 6 weeks. I honestly didn't think she was going to make it, and that was like terrifying. And then I sort of, I don't know, I took that step back and started listening and sort of turning inwards, and realizing, you know, that this is life, you know. This isn't like it is a weird part of life because it's not something we ever expected to happen, but I think that that's what life is. It's the weird things you don't expect. And so, like, I mean, yeah, something like this could happen and will happen. And so I just was like, all right, you got to live in the moment. You got to find what you're happy about right now. How are you successful right now? Like, what are you grateful for right now? Because there's nothing, you know, I've always just been so goal-oriented and living for like, okay, once I reach this, once I become this, once I have this training and get this job, I will be happy. And that's not the case. The happiness is found right now. And so I just started reading psychology books and, like, I don't know, trying to dive into myself and figure everything out, which is just an impossible task, but rewarding, very rewarding. And so I'm blessed. I'm very lucky. I'm fortunate enough that my mom's job continued to pay, and I'm in California where we do have really nice weather. And I just, you know, I've just been like running and reading and just sort of trying to better myself and figure out the next steps. But yeah, what about you guys?
Wow. You guys want to
go? After hearing that, I mean, I feel like mine kind of started off similar to yours at first, because they were saying like it wasn't gonna last for long. They were saying like, yeah, 2 weeks, and it just kept on getting extended. I don't know if you've heard of our Prime Minister. His name is Boris Johnson. Very interesting guy. He doesn't seem to know what he's doing. But anyway, that's another subject for another day. But yeah, for me, I'll say, what did I start doing? I started running more consistently. I've been doing a lot of running, and I'm really enjoying it. Like, yeah. I'm starting to do like some serious distances, so that's pretty cool. Aside from that, it has been productive, but I'm not gonna lie, I've been watching a lot of TV shows. I've been watching a lot.
I think that's productive in its own right, you know?
Sorry, I hear you on the TV shows. That really like resonates with me because I'm so late, but I recently finished How to Get Away with Murder, and I'm still reeling and very much emotional over it. And I've just started Insecure. I'm a season and a half down. We're getting there, but I very much resonate with literally everything that you just said there, Cascina, in terms of initially thinking that this was a time of mass production, right? You're seeing on YouTube and Twitter and Instagram, everyone is just like producing stuff, producing content. And it feels like, it didn't really feel like a pause at first, but then upon reflection, this whole idea of it being a pause and being time for you to really think about, like, you know, why am I doing what I'm doing? And I think there's so much synergy between us. Even the whole like goal orientation, that is me. I was literally always thinking about, you know, what's the next step, what's the next level. But the thing is, when you allow your happiness to be dictated by you fulfilling a particular, you know, stagnant goal, it's kind of like, okay, once you achieve that, what now? And I think just being able to really appreciate the idea of process, the idea of pausing, the idea of reflecting and thinking deeply about, you know, the things that you want to do, the things that you want to achieve, but also the actual process in getting there itself, and deciding actively to be happy about where you're at now and not waiting until you achieve something to be happy. So yeah, there's so much, like, I totally feel that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. That is kind of tying into the main topic that we're going to talk about afterwards.
I'm so curious.
And hey, I know it's unscripted. You know, we're very well, we can be outlandish. We don't follow rules, and this is a space for a platform, basically, where we don't follow the conventional of just the entertainment side, the jokes, the banter. But I mean, we still do that, of course, as you probably saw from like looking at our content. But we want to bring some value to the culture, value to our communities, et cetera, et cetera. And so we just normally just have a conversation as we are now, and then jump onto the topic. We have today, I know we should have done this at the start, forgive me, but this is unscripted, guys. All right. So we have today Cascina. I came across, yeah, pretty much. I know.
Dude, we are like
you're gonna
a
have to
good,
forgive me.
what, 15, 20 minutes in?
You're gonna have to, we got carried away. You're gonna have to forgive me. It's unscripted. It's unscripted. I think that's what I love about it as well, anyway. But so we have Cascina on today. Obviously, because I'm a gamer, I came across the Last of Us 2 trailer, which we'll kind of show a snippet a bit of soon. And I came across your Instagram as well. And then for me, I kind of have photographic memory when it comes to like playing games, watching TV shows or watching movies. Like even if you ask my partner, if I see someone on TV or somewhere that I've seen them before, I just instantly remember. So I just came across your Instagram. I think, wait, hold on. Is this one of the characters in the game coming up? I was like, whoa, wow, what's happening? So I thought, hey, why not get on the podcast? Because your content is really dope. It's very authentic. And because it's unscripted, we're not tied by a certain demographic or a certain field of people that can come on to sports, athletes, young actors like yourself, etc., etc. So I thought, hey, why not shoot my shot? And you're in here today.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So
I'm stoked.
I don't know if you want to add anything more to the guys listening here in the UK, or what you do by yourself, etc.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I'm an actress. That's all really. I don't know. I think that's crazy that you picked that my face was in the game from my Instagram.
Yeah,
because my own friends have watched, like my friends I grew up with watched the trailer and like didn't piece it together.
Wow. Well, my mind kind of works like a machine, but when you're saying that, that's quite surprising that they actually know you and
yeah,
they recognize.
I think they probably just weren't expecting it, Be like,
yeah,
it's kind of bizarre, but
What was their kind of initial reaction when they kind of put two and two together?
My friends.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Did you have to tell them that you were your face is in the game, or did they kind of just realize themselves?
I think it was like a big mixture, because like my close friends don't really, I mean, my boyfriend at the time, he was really into video games, and he knew of The Last of Us and stuff. And so when that came out, like his sister, who's also my friend, her brother or boyfriend played video games. So like it was really crazy for them to watch it. And like I was, it's cool. Like when people are like, that's cool, because all of my close friends are like, they have no idea. They don't know anything about the game. Like, Yeah, and I don't usually. It's always funny when people, like, when I was in London studying abroad, like, I don't just tell people that, like, you know, hi, I'm Cascina, I'm a face in a video game. You know, like, it doesn't come up either until somebody discovers it, like, either through my YouTube channel mostly, and, like, even that I don't tell people that I make YouTube videos either. So it's like, it'll always just kind of come up, and, like, it came up in the group chat in London, and you know, like, 2 of the guys were freaking out, and everyone else was just like, oh, yeah, it's cool. And then they're like, see, why didn't you tell us? Like, what? Like, we're obsessed with these guys. I'm like, what did you want me to tell? Like, what? I'm not just gonna. Yeah. So I don't know. I also, like, you know, I just sort of lent my face to the game. So it's not like Shannon Woodward did all the acting, the creation of the character, the voice, like the mocap even. So I really just, you know, sat in a room and, like, made a bunch of faces. So I don't know. But yeah. That's kind of how
pretty cool. I mean, like, I don't know about the rest of well, actually, I was going to say before that is, so in Cali, LA, have you ever had someone walk up and say, hey, you're the girl from
The Last of Us? No, I haven't. The only recognition that I've ever received was on the subway in New York. Somebody DM'd me and was like, I just saw you on the subway. And I was like, oh shit, okay. But yeah, no, I don't get recognized.
That's pretty cool. Because the reveal was it 2 years ago, is it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the other guys here, but I'd love to feature in a game.
Yeah, even if I'm just a side act, I'm just there, just standing. I'm
just walking past.
Yeah. Game.
Mangosteen.
Oh dear.
No, don't bring up a mango.
Ellie, you've come to disgrace Shakes today. I see you. We see you.
Cassie, do you know what a mangosteen is?
Oh gosh, we're not gonna get into the topic today, are we?
Do you know what a mangosteen is?
He's asked.
A mangosteen.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
That's great. It's good. It's good that you don't. It's good.
Oh.
It's an exotic fruit. It's just an exotic fruit.
Okay.
Yeah, we got a little kind of a joke. Well, it's not even a little joke. These guys think it's funny that I eat a fruit called mangosteen. I don't know what's funny about it. But it's a very nice fruit. If you do get the chance, mangosteen there.
You even shared the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Check out the reviews.
What does it taste like?
It kind of tastes like a combination of, like, a mango, a banana, a pear, quite a few different fruits. It's just you just get a whole load of flavors, different flavors. It's hard to describe until you taste it. It's hard to describe. Is to compare it to other fruits.
How did we just get on this topic, though?
I'll ask because I don't know, you know. On today's episode of Fruits we did not need to know about, Shags.
I'm going to look out for that fruit, but that's insane.
You should just educate on, like, you know, exotic fruits and.
Okay. Well, my favorite fruits is star fruit. So.
All right, but do you know what my problem with star fruits is?
Here we go.
I always get the bitter star fruits. But yeah, I like star fruits though.
That's they're supposed to be bitter.
They're meant to be kind of tangy, not all the way bitter.
They're like lemon apple. You know, that's what makes them good.
Fair enough.
I know you guys are probably going to shame me, but what is a star fruit again?
Don't know a star fruit. Basically a fruit shaped in a star shape. Yeah.
Is that it? So you just...
That's pretty much it.
Well, yeah, when you cut it, it's like
a
star, and it tastes like an apple with the flavor of a lemon. It's like really sour. It just punches you right in the mouth. It's so good.
I don't like sour things. So
well then, star fruit's not for you.
Nah, I don't think so.
See, I'm not the only fruit enthusiast around. Another one.
Well, I guess lockdown is a time of discovery, eh?
Yeah.
Renee's just laughing. Oh my days, my gosh. Okay, cool. Back to the game. So let me play a quick trailer because obviously this will get played on YouTube as well as the audio on Spotify and Apple Podcast. And then you can tell us like how the process was, you know, how it was, etc.
You mean from like the beginning?
Yeah, like how you, I don't know, was it anyway, I'll ask the questions after because I'm just gonna go into it. Okay, cool. Let me bring it up. Wait, can you guys hear it?
Nope.
Can I hear it?
No.
Oh, okay.
I can't hear it.
Let me disconnect my. Huh? Can you hear it now?
And premature.
Yep.
Perfect. Great stuff.
Rated M for mature.
Feel so extraordinary. Something's got a hold on this feeling, sudden sense of living. I used to think that the day would never come. I see the light in the shade of the morning sun. My morning sun is the drug that brings me to the childhood I lost, replaced by fear.
There you are. That's this Friday. I pre-ordered it last week. I can't wait, man.
I know it's coming up.
I don't think you go. Wait, do you know the storyline?
Of the first oh no, I'm nearly done. I'm on the like last chapter of it. So I'm not quite finished yet. But
Okay.
yeah.
Do you know the storyline of the one coming out this Friday?
No, I don't know anything.
Okay, all right.
No.
Or maybe you, well, not spoil it, but maybe give us a.
Why do you want that? I don't want no spoilers, please.
Yeah. I know. I'm just gonna be as surprised as everyone else. So.
Cool. So yeah, how was the process? How does it even work? Like with a mocap, how do you even get a role in the first place?
Well, my commercial agent just submitted me because they had drawn an image of Dina, and so my headshot just happened to match that. And then I came in and met them, and it was still between me and another girl, and we just did some test shots and stuff, and then yeah, I guess I just happened to match their vision. And yeah, so then I think, I don't know how many months went by, but then I went in and they basically scanned my face in every single different type of lighting, every single muscle my face could possibly move. Like I was isolating and for like 3 full days of just like making faces essentially and like speaking and yeah, getting down everything that my face could do. And it was really cool. It was really fun. And then for that, actually, that specific trailer that we just watched, that was shot like later, way later, like last year. And I actually did get to do the mocap for that. So that's my actual face, my acting in that little commercial. But
It
yeah,
looks so like lifelike. It's incredible.
I know. It's also really, really close zoom in there. Need a couple more feet, but yeah, it is really. I'm like, yeah, that's my face right there. Yeah.
So when did the process actually start? Was it, because obviously it wasn't last year. Like I'm sure the development of games and movies obviously takes some time. So when did it like really kind of hit off?
Well, I don't know when they started, but I was introduced in 2017, I think. Yeah, 2017 is when I got scanned. Or wait, no. Yes, yeah. I think March of 2017 ish. So yeah, that was my face like 3 years ago, which is insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think how long it takes to actually develop these games.
Mm-hmm.
I show my appreciation at the end. I watch all the end credits. I literally just finished playing the Spider-Man games. Like I said, I'm just catching up on a lot of the games that I missed out on playing. And yeah, the end credits was about like 15 minutes, and I sat through it.
Wow.
Yeah, show my appreciation.
Yeah. Wow. It's definitely like so many different parts to it, you know. It's like, especially with The Last of Us in specific, I don't obviously know about a lot about other games, but it's like half a movie, and you know, a movie in itself to like create a storyline, plot, characters, like that's a whole business, a whole art form, like all these different parts, like the creation, the writers, directors, actors, like all the tech. And then also to make it into a video game, you have all the like I don't know, character artists and the game developers, and I mean, it's like insane, yeah. I don't know.
Wow.
Did you meet the team, or was it just you isolated with the person you're working with, or?
I got to meet. I did get to meet Neil Druckmann, which was dope. I met him twice, and but I was working closely with the character artist, and one of them, and then all the guys at Sony who were like in charge of just capturing. So yeah.
I don't know. I'm not trying to be a fanboy here, but it's actually pretty cool that you're in a video game.
Yeah. No, I know. Yeah. Yeah. I've had like 3 years to like let it sink in, but it is bizarre. I don't know. I think I saw that commercial on an actual TV for the first time like a few days ago, and I was like, I think that's when it hit me. I was like,
yeah.
Other people are seeing this, not just like my own world of like my YouTube community and stuff. So yeah, I think it'll really hit me when I like am playing the game.
Yeah.
It's giving me just thinking about it's giving me some shivers. You know, like is it kind of like when you hear your own voice, like on a TV?
Ellie, did you say shivers, young man?
Yeah, man. I mean, I can kind of understand. Kind of. I can only dream, but kind of understand to an extent. Because when I was in college, I was doing a scholarship for football, what you guys call soccer. It's actually called football, but
yeah. Are we gonna get into this debate now?
Nah, maybe another episode.
It's actually called football, but okay.
So I was doing a scholarship for a football club, and I was very fortunate to get picked out to be sponsored by Nike UK to get some special boots, and there was a professional athlete that came to deliver it to me, very fancy, etc., and it was like shared on different platforms in the UK, etc. And I didn't even think it was that big at the start. I mean, I just went to the Nike store. They had me pick colors, put my name on it, etc., etc. Then I found it on Facebook, I found it on other websites. I was thinking, like, whoa, okay. So it's not just me then, kind of reading this and seeing this. That was an interesting experience. Again, just a fraction, but yeah.
No, that's dope. That's crazy.
Yeah.
He's huge.
What do your family say about it?
They just love anything that I they're just my biggest supporters. They didn't know anything about video games, and I didn't even know, like, when I first, like, was being considered for it, I didn't know what The Last of Us was. So yeah, but that's kind of where they are. But when I tell them, I'm like, I just got like 30,000 views on this video, they're like, oh, whoa. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of a big deal. But yeah.
I don't know, at least from the household I come from, is if I told my mom I was in a video game or my dad I was in a video game, it would have to pay me. I mean, that would kind of like playing it in it, that wouldn't make any difference in any kind of way. Old fashioned, I'd say. But
they would, like you would have had, you don't want them to find out, or they just like would not be okay with it?
No, they wouldn't like, kind of, as your experience in parallel, they wouldn't understand the gravity of it, if that makes sense. Like, yeah. So if it's not, well, especially being an African, if it's not like bringing in money, or it's not in their criteria as parents of what they want you to become, then it is what it is to an extent.
Yeah, that's another way I'm so like fortunate to have parents that will support such an unconventional, I mean, I guess, like, yeah, I don't know, it's just, it's weird for sure. But no.
Cool. So I guess we can kind of jump into the topic, and you guys were already kind of speaking about it already, in terms of the process and the outcome, in relation to the lockdown, and even like with what you were doing, well, with the game in itself. How was it in regards to the process of, you found out where, okay, like, wow, I'm going to be in this game. It's going to be sold nationwide, worldwide, whatever. Was it a thing where you couldn't wait to do it, kind of as you mentioned before, where you just wanted to get to that goal and then arrive at your destination, and did you appreciate the process there and then while you were going through it, or afterwards?
The process of like
yeah,
being in the game and like waiting for it to come out and stuff.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think for me the best part of all of it was getting to like make the faces and be in the like doing the working days, and then when that was over, I was just like, well, I've got, however many years to just kind of sit on this and like not tell anyone, and do my own discovering and play the game, and just keep building my acting career, because that's, it was just like any other job for me personally, because as an actor, like, you book something, you do it, and you go for the next thing, and you're only as good as your next job. So I knew I had time, I guess, to just sort of, keep building whatever it was I was trying to build. And but I really, like, it's not something I really thought about on a day-to-day basis. It would just come up like randomly, like I said, when I was studying abroad, it came up. Or anytime a new trailer dropped, I would have a spike in Instagram followers and YouTube subscribers, and those were cool. But I was still like trying to build my own, build my own work my YouTube videos weren't really centered around it, even though my subscribers were. So that's always been sort of difficult for me, because people only ever found my channel because of The Last of Us. So they're like strictly Last of Us fans, and they don't necessarily come from my content. Which, you know, today, like having that been sort of my battle for years, like feeling like, I'm sort of just not making content for the right audience, like that my audience won't ever find me, like I'm sort of cornered in this gaming community that like I just don't really feel like I like relate to, like I don't make the content they want to see. I sort of went through this, you know, journey. I don't, if anybody, whoever does watch all of my videos, they know that like periodically I'll stop posting and I'll come back and I'll be like, I've just been really trying to figure myself out and like my content, and like it'll happen so much. To a point where like I since moving to New York and going to this acting school that is really finally at the caliber I wanted to be training at, and really it takes art as seriously as I always desired to, I really took a harsh look at my channel and was like, you know, what keeps bringing me back to this place of like, this is not working. I don't like this. I don't like the content I make. So yeah, I feel like, wait a second. Have I gone really way off the topic?
No, you're still on. It's unscripted. You're still on.
I was like, what was the question again? My process to the finish. Yeah, I feel like recently I've been grateful that my content didn't ever take off as like a vlogging YouTube lifestyle like girl. And I'm kind of happy that I was like sort of forced to like be sort of like a smaller YouTuber, like, and because I was always, yeah, and I was always trying to push my content. I was like, it's not picking up, like what's next, how can I make it better, like why aren't people watching it? And I was like, why am I doing this, you know, what am I even like I love what you guys said. This is why I was stoked to come on your guys's show, because you're adding value to the world. I think like interesting conversations and talking about topics and just speaking with people who examine life rather than just sort of observe it and live it. That's useful. That's adding value. But me just sort of like vlogging my like day-to-day life and like just trying to make entertaining, like funny stuff, it has some value, but that's not, I personally feel like I've grown out of that. I feel like that sort of content was good for me when I was like 16 to like 18 or 19. But now like I'm trying to take this more seriously, and like art in general, and making YouTube videos about like, oh, this is like, I'm gonna bake cookies now, like watch me bake cookies, like I don't know, man, it's a little mind numbing in my opinion, but I definitely will still watch other people make cookies.
You have a baker right here. I don't know if that's a Hill's baker.
Oh, well, I love cookies, so if you wanna.
I really think that we must be the same person, just in a different, I don't know, alternate reality or something. I love baking. I'm in love with baking. I think yesterday I made cream cheese cookies, banana cake, and cream cake. And yeah, I adore baking at this point in my life. I
think we need to hang out, because
I think it's a love story, really. We it's great that we've met. I'm happy. You know, this is fantastic and phenomenal.
Everything
I just think yin and yang. It's great. I'm feeling the vibes.
Oh man, that's crazy. 3 different desserts. Wow. I need to come hang out at your house for sure.
Listen, you are most welcome. Whenever you come to London, most welcome. Hit me up and I'll make sure that there's some cookies before you come by.
Oh, I will. I'm gonna take you up on that.
I'm still waiting for some.
I knew you were gonna say that, Shakes. literally waiting. I was like, yeah, Ellie and Shagan have been waiting for their own, to be honest with you. But you guys know, post-lockdown, I've got you, so.
I hope I answered your question, by the way.
No, you really did. I mean,
Ellie, can you even remember the question you asked?
I can remember it, all right? I told you my mind is a machine.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, just relating it to your content and life itself. And even though it was way, way at the start, in terms of like lockdown, is just appreciating. I know groundness is not a word, guys, but you know the context of what I'm speaking in. But the core or the groundness, to say so, of where you started from, you know, where you're going. And I'm sure like in your field, it must be something that you're confronted with quite a lot in terms of, as you mentioned before, you know, doing the next role to get to a certain level, or maybe even with your content, doing this kind of video to get more subscribers. So I'm sure you kind of go through that. Everyone goes through it in their own way, but I'm sure you go through it in that kind of way.
Totally. I think about this all the time. All the time. I have so many conversations with my friends about it because I am one of those people that values authenticity above a lot of other. It's in my top 10 values. That's how much I think about this. I have written out my top 10 values. And it is so easy to be born in California, see people on TV, want to do that, get into an acting class, and then just get sucked right into the like rat race. And they'll tell you that they tell you, like, you get signed with an agent. The kids have like talent. You get signed with an agent. You're not even aware of what you're doing. You know, from a young age, you're taught to like book, like do this, do that, create your own content. You need to get seen. The only way you're going to make it in this industry is if you're seen. It's a numbers game. The more auditions you go on, the higher your chance of booking it is. And it's like, you forget about the process. You forget about it. It's entirely result oriented. And you sort of forget who you are, because at least in my experience, like with creating YouTube videos, I was like, what do I like to watch? What do people want to see? That's what I'm going to make. I forgot, like, who am I? What would I authentically just create? What do I want to share with the world? What do I think would add value to this platform rather than just add the same thing? And so, yeah, with that's how I was for years. And then, you know, being faced with that in myself and like becoming aware of that fact, it was hard because you have to decide, well, if I stop, am I gonna disrupt the progress I was making? Am I gonna shoot myself in the foot if I just say, you know what, this matters more to me. I'd rather just not make content than make content I don't care about. Where if you make that content that you don't care about, potentially it could lead you to that place that you really think you want to go. But so it's like, what matters more to you, you know? Like, and I think with my most recent videos, I've been on a big like Last of Us binge. I've been trying to finish the game, and I've been posting these gameplays on my YouTube channel, which is not something I've ever done. And it's like, is she doing this for views, or is she doing this because she wants to? And I knew that all of my subscribers would watch it, but I didn't think it was going to get more views than like the first like Last of Us thing. I was not posting that for views. I'm not posting them for views. I'm posting them because I think at the beginning of my, like when it came out that I was Dina from The Last of Us and people started subscribing, I kept saying, you know, I'm going to play the game because I wanted to play the game and I wanted to finish it. And I kept saying that, and I kept putting it off, and life kept getting in the way. And now I can play it, and I can post it. And I said I was going to do it, so I'm going to do it. And then once I've done that, and then the second game comes out, and, you know, whatever I do with that, I'm still not sure yet. But I think that's when I finally get to, you know, sort of like stop and be like, okay, now that all of that is over, or, you know, now I get to like really just sort of take charge, because I'm not turning into, you know, I'm not going to play more games, and, you know, that's not the kind of YouTuber I am, or, you know, I just, yeah. And I don't even know if I'm going to continue making YouTube videos, because it just doesn't feel like that's where my life is. That's where my like heart is. It doesn't really feel like it's in that place anymore. There's still like important things that maybe I want to make, because making videos is something I've always loved, and I love rewatching them, and saying like, oh, that's what was happening in my life, you know, that was my friends and all that. So like periodically, but I think like having that mentality of like, I need to post, I need to make content weekly, like I need to build subscribers, like that is just not my mentality at all anymore. And I'm grateful for that, because it took some very intense like acting training for me to finally realize like acting doesn't have to be about booking a role. It doesn't have to be about being seen in Hollywood. It can be about the pure art of it and the sacredness of, you know, the history and the art of it. And I found that in New York. I did not find that in LA. It's not how I was raised, and I'm fortunate. I'm fortunate in that respect. So, once again, did I answer the question?
Perfect score so far. Perfect score so far. I don't know if sorry, yeah, take it on, jump in.
Just to add to that, I feel like that's a very interesting conversation in terms of deciding whether you want to kind of like appease your audience, or like kind of make the videos that your audience want to see, or you want to make the videos that you want to put out. I feel like it's kind of weird, especially when you're trying to build a brand and a following, or even like a platform for yourself, because like, especially like even in your example as well, like you mentioned earlier, you've got some people, some fans of the game that have obviously seen you, and they've realized that, yeah, you've got a YouTube channel, so they would expect you to be doing a certain type of content obviously related to the game. So then do you appease them and create that content that would interest them, or do you create the content that actually interests your original core following? Very interesting, very interesting. Was that your dog?
Yes, so she started like screaming. I was like, okay, that's not gonna work. Yeah, I think because I care about the people that have found my channel. You know, I obviously like, I'm not going to compromise my own values to sort of appease an audience, but at the same time, I did make a YouTube channel, and I did tie it to The Last of Us. I did that. I didn't have to make a YouTube video about it. I could have just not told anyone that I was in the game, and then nobody would have, you know, probably had any expectations, even known that Dina had a sort of face model. So I do care about the people watching it, and they like at least from the comment section and the views, people like to they like obviously The Last of Us. That's why they came, but they want to see me play the game, and they want to see my reactions or whatever, and I want to give them that. I want to, you know, I want to just I don't need to just play the game and just sort of on my own. And, you know, I made this channel, and I'm here for that. and I do care about those people, even though I don't know them. It's weird. It's a weird little thing. But yeah, but once that, so that to me is the authentic bit, I guess. But it won't just continue. I can't. I'm not just gonna serve an audience. Even though I guess that's what an actress does. But yeah, I feel like I've grown. It's been years, you know. So yeah.
I think it's amazing to find out about yourself now, especially when you're young, and to actually look at other examples of people who probably are much further down, you know, further down the line in terms of their age or their career, and probably still haven't figured this out.
I think it sounds weird, but I was lucky to have. I think the only reason that I am sort of like this, I guess, is because I never blew up. I never, like, you know, I'm not at 100,000 subscribers like all the YouTubers I watch. Otherwise, I would have been like, oh, this is working. This is good. Because it was not working, I guess. And I obviously was also always pursuing acting. I was not pursuing a YouTube career, but if it had taken off, I think I would have stayed in that probably. I mean, I don't know. But if that was going to make the money and that was going to, you know, make me happy, I don't see why I would have had any need for reflection on that. But because I was constantly reflecting on it, and because I would periodically go back and watch my videos and think that's trash and I can't believe that I put that on the internet. And because of my, you know, education, it's just honestly fortunate enough to be able to, like, realize what mattered to me and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what, well, maybe the guys want to jump in as well, but I think it's crazy how life, especially in the current climate of lockdown, coronavirus, even the Black Lives Matter movement that's taking place, how sometimes when a situation or something just comes up, like let's say the coronavirus, you kind of ask yourself, in your case, where, okay, you're not at 100,000 subscribers, or you're maybe not yet where you want to be right now, you kind of ask yourself, or it's easy for someone to ask themselves, is this supposed to be a good thing? Like, is there any good that's supposed to be coming out of this anyway? But it's only when you're in the now, kind of as you mentioned, you kind of look around and say, oh, wow, actually, this is actually great. You know, it's kind of the perfect position.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Segueing from like that question, I wanted to ask, is there, like, obviously you do YouTube and you act as well, and obviously in YouTube you're trying to portray your own personality, but with acting it's more trying to create a character or just than trying to play a character. Do you ever find yourself in either role, so let's say even on your YouTube, trying to like be somebody, not all the way be someone that you're not, but try and play a character that's not all the way 100% you? Or do you try and just stay authentic to who you are? If you get what I'm saying.
100%. I think that's like the golden question with YouTubers, is like, how much of themselves are they?
Yeah.
And I think that it's so interesting. I honestly love this little discussion because I think no matter how hard we try to sort of portray something that we're not, there's a little piece of us that is in there always, in front of when you're a YouTuber. And like, I definitely, in the beginning, especially, I always tried to just be myself, but that was, you know, the version of myself in front of a camera that knows that people are going to be watching and I don't want to just bore them to death. So it's like, yeah, I'll probably sprinkle in a little more energy or charisma or something. And determining how much of that is authentic is difficult, because your friends will watch your videos and be like, that's not you. Or like, you know, like, that's not how you talk to me. And I'm like, why would I don't know. Sometimes I'd be like, this is me. I'm just like, you know, commenting more on what's going on because I'm making a video about it. I'm not just like silently like thinking, because like, what kind of video would that be? I don't know. So but that's always been hard, because I think especially in the times when I was I think like right in the middle, honestly, like when I was in London, those videos I just recently rewatched, and I was like, gosh, why am I trying so hard? Like what is all of that like personality coming at me? I was like, that's not, and I don't know, you know, I don't know, because I know in the moment, like I'm trying to be myself, and then, but it's hard, because it's like, that's hard even in itself to define who is yourself.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you know you're being yourself? Like, how is it the way you feel when you're talking to the camera? And I'm different around all different types of people too, I feel like. Like if it's a really like cute guy, like there's gonna be a certain version that comes out. If it's like my sister, like I'm gonna be, you know. So I feel like the camera is just another one of those things where it's like a certain side of you comes out, and but there's always some level of authenticity in it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Got you. Makes sense.
So Renee, we're gonna say something because I saw your.
Yeah, no, I was literally just like drinking that in. That was such an awesome answer, because there's just so many facets of that. So many, like, I guess, more philosophical facets that you touched on. You touched on it before I could even ask you the question of like authenticity being different depending on whoever is receiving a side of you. And is there really a fully authentic you that other people have seen in its entirety? Because, you know, as you were saying, the way that you'll behave with your sister is different to how you know, behave with a cute guy. Absolutely different. And even the camera, this whole imposed or implied audience, you know, how do you now react to somebody that's completely, you know, probably unseen? And then, you know, it's just this whole idea of like authenticity. I think we need to really think about what we mean when we say authentic. And we also need to kind of like broaden our perspective as to what should be considered authentic. You know, just because you present one way to one person doesn't necessarily mean that you're any less authentic if you present in a different way to somebody else. So I think it was really cool that you touched on that. So yeah, that was awesome.
I think that's really that's something I've struggled with my whole life, is like, you know, when somebody finally points out to you that you're different when you're around different people, and you're like, oh shit. Yep. It's like, who am I? And I had a friend in college who would just rail me for it. She'd be like, oh, you're so different, like with this person, and I'm like, oh no, that's such a bad thing. I should be the same all the time. And it's like, well, wait a second, why do I think that necessarily? You know, it's like, I'm not gonna like be like, if you take like, I don't know, your grandma, you're not gonna be, there's certain parts of yourself that you're just not gonna expose her to. And there's nothing, I don't necessarily think it's a lie. I think it might be part of courtesy, but I think it's also very genuine. It's like, this is our relationship, you know, this is like how I care about you. This is who I want to be when I'm around you. And as much as I wish I could just be myself fully uninhibited 24/7 around anyone and everything, one, I think that'd be detrimental to society, because what am I gonna do? Walk around? Is that a bad thing to just be? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the answer, but it doesn't feel natural to do that. It doesn't feel natural to I don't know. I don't know. I have a big problem where I cuss a lot. I have a bad mouth, and I noticed I haven't done that once on this podcast.
Hey.
So it's thank you. If you watch my previous last video, I think the amount of times I say the F word is probably in the 50s. It's disgusting. I don't know. But am I a different person right now because I'm not doing that? Am I hiding something? Am I lying? Am I not being authentic? No, I just didn't feel. I don't feel like I want to say the F word. I don't know. I don't know. Do I? Yeah. I think it's too big an ask. It's too big to ask someone to be uninhibited right now in front of me. What? I don't know you. I don't even know myself.
I literally was about to say that. I was like, I don't know you. I'm not about to be uninhibited in front of you.
Yeah, exactly.
maybe after a couple of drinks, but even then, no. Absolutely.
Exactly. And it's such a complex issue. And I think also overthinking it is one of those things that makes it harder. But I can't help it. I'm one of those people that I find a little issue or something that I want to have sound. It's like, oh, am I being authentic? And then I just I need the most simple and specific answer to this so I can fix it. But it's not gonna work. I'm not gonna be able to answer that. So yeah, but it's I think just discussing it and letting it flushing it out is how you come closer to feeling reasoned with it. I don't know if that makes sense.
I feel like this is part of quite a larger, broad conversation, because let's flip this to another platform. Let's flip this to Instagram, where you have people kind of portraying their lives in such great ways. No one wants to see you walking down the street on a rainy day. You want to see something flashy, something exciting. You want to see money and all these kind of things. But then when you do post that, people are like, why are you posting that? That is kind of either vain, or it's not showing people a real aspect of your life. It's not showing people that there are some days that are not as exciting. So how do you find the balance?
Me personally?
Just anyone in general,
I think I decided for myself with Instagram specifically, I was like, okay, you know what? This is going to be a creative outlet for me. This is going to be something I curate. I'm going to make my feed something that I like to just look at visually. And I want photos that are kind of cool. Because the same thing you're talking about with the authenticity thing, I was like, my Instagram, I don't look like that all the time. My Instagram is just a highlight reel, all this stuff. And it's like, fine. I cannot be my authentic self on that platform. There's no way to really I don't know, unless you want it to be, I guess. You could, but I just didn't want to. I was like, you know what, that's not, I have my YouTube videos for that. And if you really want to meet me, then I'll be authentic with you and we can be friends, but I'm not gonna Instagram, I just can't do that. I cannot say this is really who I am on an Instagram page. I just can't. I didn't want to even try. So that's what I do on Instagram. I try to, I do this thing with these, the borders, have a black, a white, and a light gray border. And I just alternate them. And I like to scroll through it. I like the way it looks. And that's it. That's all I do on Instagram. So
I don't know, Shegs. I feel like I would love to see you walking in the rain. I think that would be such a picturesque, I would love to see it. Such an artistic portrayal of real life. But I think what you said is it's an interesting question, right? Because it feels like a paradox. It's either you're trying actively to present, your authentic life on Instagram, or you're trying to live up to a particular, you know, stereotype or image, and, you know, people can see through it. But the thing is, like, I feel like we are really a generation of people that are struggling with cognitive dissonance, because the same time people be yelling, you know, X person is fake, or like some of the things that you're portraying are not true. You'd only know that if you were closely following the person, and you'd only know that if you were subscribed to, you know, their life updates and stuff like that. And that's primarily why things like, you know, the Shade Room is still up and running, or like all of these different like IG pages. It's like, yeah, you know that they're fake, but you're still, some parts of you is still subscribed to that fake lifestyle, or that, you know, lifestyle that they portray. So I think it's not even just about you as an individual and what you post, but also there is a part that the audience plays as well. Quite similarly to YouTube, actually, where there's kind of like an interaction between the, you know, the YouTuber and the audience, even though the audience is unseen or like, you know, online. Instagram is all about that relationship that you have with potential viewers. And I think us as consumers of, you know, social media, we need to start thinking about our relationship to that as well, and our relationship to authenticity as consumers of other people's constructed stories. So, you know, how does it make you feel when you see other people's feeds, and how does it make you, like, what is your judgment, or, you know, what feelings does it conjure up when you look at somebody's feed and you come to these kind of like ideas? Because I wrestle with social media a lot, because I recognize it's one of those platforms that could be used for good. Like, look at how much exposure it can give to really, really pertinent issues. But then the same vessel that's used for good is often used really, really badly, as we have seen in so many, you know, character assassinations and the rise of cancel culture and all this kind of stuff. So we also need to start understanding that it's not just being an active creator on social media, but also a consumer. Like, what is our relationship to the things that we're actually consuming on social media?
That's so interesting. That's true. I think also, like, yeah, especially because it can be so mentally detrimental to be scrolling through people's highlight reels and all these things that all these standards of beauties and ideals and like things that people tell you gotta want and that you should have, and people are just feeding that with likes and like money and clothes. It's like, how could I not want to look like Francesco Farrago? Have you guys watched Too Hot to Handle?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. She's like,
they have, not me. I'm not about
I
that.
haven't watched it either. I was quite surprised that you've seen that, Shaken.
Wait,
oh, Too Hot to Handle.
Yeah, you've seen it. Don't back out now. Don't back out now.
Wow. I don't know why. I thought of something completely different. But yes, I've seen Too Hot to. Yes, Francesca, I'm with you. Please continue. I'm there.
Yeah.
I mean, she's clearly had a bit of work done. She's got, you know, whatever, very thin, slim waist, slim figure, big butt, big boobs, big lips, big eyes, whatever. She's got it all. And it's like, we can say all day long, like, that's an unrealistic standard of beauty. Nobody should hold themselves to that. We are all beautiful in our own right, blah, 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 all this stuff. That's true. But everybody on that show wanted to be with her. She's making millions of dollars now. She lives this amazing life. She's the only one that actually came out with love and a real relationship. And it's like, if you're going to get all these added benefits, like, why would I not want that? Like, and that's what frustrates me the most, because it's like, these things that we're just trying to bring down are just so rewarded. They're just so rewarded, not just in like popularity and people liking it and like you feeling like that. It's like tangible with like money. It's like you're literally getting paid. Like, we're not paying you because you don't have that. That's what's is even me just comparing myself to it. It's like, I'm comparing myself to this whole life that she got to build because of that. Not just, oh, I'm not skinny enough. It's like, oh, I don't have the figure that pays or something. So yeah, it's so frustrating. And then I also, am confronted with the fact that I follow her on Instagram. So like you were saying, as the consumer, it's like, whoa, why am I doing that? I don't know. I don't know. It's like some weird curiosity, I guess. Part of me likes her personality, part of me liked she's a person. There are things I relate to. Part of me likes her and Harry's relationship. Like, is that so? That's right. So is that bad of me to say? Like, I don't know. But yeah, like, what am I feeding? What am I, as a consumer, like, what am I supporting? And what's my relationship in this all? Which is not something I'd considered, and I'm very like I'm pleased that you like brought that up, because now I got some more thinking to do.
More thinking. It's always the best. Oh gosh, you touched on so many good things there. Like, I was just like, check. Like, yep. And she really brought it with this one. I love the fact that you talked on the fact that there are certain tangible and material benefits that come when you befit the standard of beauty, whether or not anyone wants to admit it, because even the act of calling it out sometimes can mean that you're putting yourself in danger sometimes, from excessive hate online or even in person. Suddenly you're bitter and jealous when you point out the fact that there are certain aspects of beauty or certain standards that are by default rewarded. Even the act of doing that is something that's like, gosh, she's just jealous or bitter. And it's like, no, because I'm very much like you. I thought they were a cute couple. Like, I was following them. I was like, oh, I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Who else was there? For me, it was that couple from Love Is Blind. I was following them like a flipping puppy. I think it was what are their names? Cameron and
Okay, yeah. Cameron and,
you guys can dip out here. Shegs and Ellie can dip out here. Yes, Cameron and Lauren, I lived for them. Like, when they had the matching suits, I was just like, this is power couple. I'm here for it. But there is that element of like, what is it about them and, their love story or, their appearance that is rewarded by society. And I think it's such a, we can take it on an even larger scale and move on to things like, race and gender and all of these different social constructs and what elements of identity or ascribed identity is rewarded. I mean, Ellie and Shegs and I have spoken prolifically on, Black Lives Matter and race and all the kind of like different elements of that, and talked about the fact that, there are certain races and certain aspects of dominant white culture that is rewarded. And then we can talk about, patriarchy and the fact that there are elements of certain sexualities and there are certain genders that are rewarded above others. I think it just boils down to this annoying thing of like, whenever we ascribe the standard to something or someone, they are by default rewarded. And it's so annoying because it's not something that the people that are being oppressed or the people that are, not benefiting from can ever become. Right? That's the really frustrating stuff. Like, yes, we, somebody like Francesca or somebody that's like traditionally beautiful is rewarded, but it's also a double frustration because somebody, that is not like that can never be like her unless they get, unless they push it to the extremes and get work done and stuff like that. A Black person or a person, somebody that is, a member of a minority community can never be rewarded as a white person is, because by default they will never become that, in the same way that somebody that identifies as a woman will never be rewarded in the same way that men are, because by default they can never become that identity. So it's just one of those frustrating things where it's like, we as a society need to just dismantle this idea of the standard bearer and the rewarding of the standard.
Right.
Yeah, sorry guys, that was such a such a little blurb there, little.
Everyone's writing essays today.
I totally agree, and I feel as an artist that's one little thing. That's one thing that, like, you know, how do you grapple with something like that? How do you change? Because I believe that everybody that already exists, like, really, you've already been exposed to this standard. You already completely impressed upon, and honestly, there's no hope. No, but like, what we can do now is like create something different for the newer generations to see and immerse them in a different story. And I honestly think it happened. I don't know. I don't know how to solve the world's problems, but like, you know, the little things I've been thinking of, like, you know, whenever I try to think about this, especially as an actress, it's like, what can I do? TV shows and movies, I think it's really subtle. It's in, like, you know, who's cast, you know, male or female, the lead, the job they have, the way people talk to them, the way they treat themselves, what do they prioritize, what are their values. I think it comes down to like the subtleties of the character that will change those things, not the plot, not the, like, I don't know, novelty of the movie. I think it's like really in those subtle details about like interactions in life, because that's what you unconsciously pick up on, is like the way your mom talks to herself in the mirror. Like, I've had body image issues my entire life. I love my mother, but I think a lot of it's due to her, because she is just, from my conception, she's just been like, oh, these jeans make me look fat. And it's like, well, of course I'm gonna think that, like, I need to not be fat, because all I've heard my whole life is my mom saying she looks fat in these jeans. And so jeans have to make you not look fat. And that's what I grew up believing. And that's what we all grow up believing, because that's what people tell you to believe. So it's like, that's the thing that needs to change. It's not like, oh, you want to, you know, it's like, that needs to just be taken out. We just need to not hear people say that, a woman say that about herself. So I think, yeah, subtly in the script, like, what is she going to say? What does she say to herself? What does she teach her kids? What do the kids enjoy? I don't know, things like that. So that's, yeah, disrupting those standards and just changing. I feel like it's just about changing what we're used to, I guess. But it's so hard because we're already used to it, you know? It's already ingrained in me. It's already there. I don't know. And realizing it and, like, trying to attack it is, like, possible. But people have to want to do that. And they also have to, like, realize, they have to become aware of it, which in itself is nearly impossible, just to become aware of something. I know I'm so unaware of so many things, and that just scares me every day. I'm like, well, what am I ignorant of? I don't know. How am I supposed to know? I just don't know. Oh, yeah.
I think awareness is definitely the first step, at least, though. Definitely 100%.
Especially in the current climate with the Black Lives Matter movement. Awareness. I'm completely guilty of that. Completely. And, you know, I feel shame about it every day. It's like, it's not that I wasn't taught about racism in school. It's not that it's just like ignorance and selfishness, honestly. Yeah.
The shaking. Looks like, are you gonna say something?
No, I'm just taking in everything. A lot of information being like,
I know, right?
Absorb everything.